Hello friends, in this session we are going to continue the discussion on inheritance. Today our focus will be concentrating on some of the keywords of Java language. For that we will try to understand the program. We'll start writing the class itself. I have a class called as A, which has some instance variable called as I. There's one more class called as B, which extends A. There is one more variable as a constructor. Int A and int B are the parameters. I is equal to A and B is equal to J. So this is my class. This I and J are I is visible for the subclass called as B, right? Okay, now let me create an object of A is equal to new A, and then say A dot I is equal to 20. So one object would have been created. In this the value would have been 20 referred by A. So no issues when I print, I'll be able to get this. But when I create an object of B is equal to new B, what happens is I'll not be able to do this, right? The reason is already have specified a constructor, so I need to pass the respective arguments. Let me pass 1 and 2. What has happened? One more memory got allocated referred by variable B, and the values of I and J would have been 1 and 2. No issues still here. When I try to print SOP of B dot I, 1 will be printed, B dot J, 2 will be printed, respective values will be printed. But instead of J, I will go and declare this as I itself. Instead of J, I can have same variable name in two different scopes. This is a different scope, like this class A has a different scope, class B has a different scope. So in class B, I can definitely go ahead and declare something class I, okay, some variable as I. Although subclass has the knowledge, but still I can define a variable called as I in the subclass called as B. Now when I do this, what happens? The value of 1 and 2 will be given to what? When I try to print this SOP of B dot I, earlier it was printing 1, but right now it is going to print you 2. The reason is, in this scope, at this point of time, assume this is not available. At this point of time, in this scope, value would have been, A value would have been passed to, sorry, I think there is a problem in this. Okay, there's a problem in this. It should be J is equal to B. Now instead of J, this would have been I right now, right? Because I updated this. Now value of A would be assigned to I. To which I? There is a confusion for the compiler. Whether should I assign it to this I or to this I? So it takes the preference for the local member of the class. So this I would have been updated to 1. Next time, the next immediate next statement, I is equal to B, what happens? The value of 2 gets updated. So the value of 2 or 1 doesn't reach to the superclass at all. When I try to print, it always prints the value called as 2. There should be some way, even if the variable names are same, the value should have been gone to the superclass, right? So we are supposed to use the keyword called as super. That's it. Super dot I is equal to A means what happens? The value of that particular, the value of this particular variable would have been assigned to the superclass. So basically, super is a simple keyword which will always point to the immediate superclass. Remember, it's an immediate superclass. Okay, when I speak about multi-level inheritance, class A can be extended by class B can extend class A, class C can extend class B. So when I say super in this class, it will always point to the immediate superclass called as B. From B, if I try to say super, it will always point to the immediate superclass called as A. So it's a simple keyword which will always point to the immediate superclass. Instead of this, I can go ahead and say super dot I here. What happens? The value of 2 will be assigned to the superclass variable. But again, when I try to print b dot I, and in this case, when the super is given here, the value will be always giving as 2, because again b dot I, the preference will be given to this I itself. So if at all I want to print this, what should I do? I need to bring in some method here. There is no other go. Understood? See here, what happens is, I'm not able to erase this. I don't have an eraser here. See, right now at this point of time, super dot I, the value of 1 is been handed over to the superclass variable. But how will I come to know that the value of 1 is available here? There is no other go. B dot I, always the preference will be given to this I, whatever the value inside this will be given. But this value, how would I print? Just bring in one method here, then you invoke this particular method here. You will be able to get the idea of super keyword. Let us see a program here. So see the program. Now there is a class I, J. So right now when I print I and J, the value should have been updated to 99 and 100. Forget about this particular value. Just for demonstration I had created that, and right now I am creating an object using the subclass 99 and 100. Now I can go ahead and do this, right? I and I. Nobody is going to stop me. Compiler is going to work fine. Here also I need to ask b dot I. So now when I do this, the value of 100, where is the value of 99? I am not at all assigning it to the superclass variable. Earlier it was assigned to superclass variable. When I say super dot I, the value of 99 would have been assigned to the superclass variable. Okay, but still at this point of time I am not able to access I, right? I can't go ahead and say b dot super dot I, because the super means always points to the immediate superclass. There is no superclass for demo. So what I need to do? I need to bring in some method to figure out, or basically to understand whether the value has been passed to the superclass variable or not. So how would I do? System.println of I, and just invoke, instead of this p dot I, invoke the fun method. From the subclass you will be able to invoke the superclass method, right? That's what we understood. See, inside fun you can so this gives you a basic highlight of super keyword. Super is just a keyword which will always point to the immediate superclass. That's it about this. Okay, so we'll go to the next program of superclass. Again, we'll start understanding the class. We'll just start designing some basic class. Class A, which has a constructor. I'll just declare it as first constructor A. Constructor A, class B, extends A. Bear with me guys, my handwriting is pretty bad. I keep on saying this. I don't have any I'm not showing any signs of improvement also. Day by day it's getting worse, so please bear with me. So there's a class B. I have one more class, class C, extends B. Okay, SOP of constructor C, something you specify. So now there are three classes in an hierarchy. So class B is the subclass of A, class C is the subclass of B. Okay, So now when I try to create C is equal to new C, what would be the output of this program? It will be printing you something like this: constructor A, constructor B, and then constructor C will be printed. So what happens is, there is a default constructor which will be invoked. So this constructor will be invoked. It is not going to print this. What happens is, in the subclass constructor, there is a default super which is going to be inserted by the compiler. So like how the compiler is going to insert the default constructor, in the same way default super will be inserted. This default super will in turn invoke the superclass constructor. Again, this is a subclass constructor. There is a super keyword which is going to be inserted. Again, this is going to invoke the superclass constructor. While coming back, it is going to print the constructor A, constructor B, and constructor C. Assume that I have commented out this part. This part is not available at all. So what would happen is, when I say C is equal to new C, it is going to print you what? Constructor A, and coming back nothing is available, constructor C. The reason is, see, this is a class. During the compilation time, what happens? A default constructor would have been inserted into the .class file. This is a perfect class. Although there is nothing inside this, assume this, I have not written anything as such. This is a open brace and a close brace for this particular class. Still, it's a class. A default constructor would have been inserted. Default constructor means nothing will be available. Okay. Now, again, this is a subclass. When there is a constructor in the subclass, a default super keyword will be inserted if you are not specified. So now the super would have been inserted. From this super, the control comes to this default constructor. From here, again the control goes back to A. While coming back, it is going to print A. There is nothing here. Then comes and prints constructor C. So be careful. Now assume that I have not specified any constructor here. The default constructor will be inserted. But if at all I specify a constructor, here the compilation is going to fail. The reason is, this constructor, inside this constructor there is a super keyword, the default super, which is looking out for the default constructor, and if I don't specify any constructor, the compilation is going to fail, right? You can see that in front of the system. Let's go. I have already created a class. See, there's a class A1, B1 and C1. We discussed A, B and C, right? I have written this A1, B1 and C1, and I try to print A1, B1 and C1 will be printed. While coming back, it is going to print you. The hierarchy is, first it comes here, goes back to the superclass, again from superclass, again it goes back to the superclass. While coming back, it is going to print inside it doesn't print this and then go to the superclass. Please remember this. Okay. Now there is nothing here. I have not given anything. Fine. Looks fine. Prints you A1 and C1. Correct, right? So when I do this, I say B1 and B1. C1 is just a variable name. B1 and A1 will be printed. So clear with this, right? I hope you like this video. If you have any questions and queries, please put a comment below, and please do give a thumbs up for this particular video, and please do subscribe for my channel Open Lambda. Thanks a lot.